She's a
I
saint.
do.
Today we've got World Economic, person on CNN, and he just comes on there. Bottom out your mama.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
The whole system's gonna bottom out like I did in your mom last night, bitch. Fucking, they just cut back to the anchor, and she's like, "All right."
Just blinks.
Well, that was Larry Anderson with Economic Report.
Yeah, right. Like the fucking, I just saw right before going to class, like the fucking Trump indictment sort of fucking breaking news. Oh man, all the Wheel of Fortune fans like, what the fuck? God.
Don't fuck with the Wheel of Fortune fan.
Dude, it's not Wheel of Fortune, it's Jeopardy. I shit you not. If we preempt Jeopardy for anything, the phone rings nonstop. It takes 3 people to answer all the fucking calls of these fucking people calling this local CBS station going, "How come I can't watch Jeopardy?"
Even though you have no control over it.
That is amazing.
Mm.
That's pretty great.
So, do you guys get any heads up, or is it just kind of like?
Yeah, they tell us. There's like a gigantic fucking speaker that comes out. They're like, "It's a CBS local." Blah, 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 blah.
Well, I guess like from your perspective though, is the breaking news interrupting at the same time as interrupting everybody else? It's just like you get a loudspeaker, so because you're there at work.
I don't get what you're saying.
Well, in the sense that like it's not like you can prepare.
I don't know. We're live.
Like, we're gonna get all these phone calls. It just happens as it happens because it's breaking.
I mean, I'm like, we're gonna start the show.
Are we?
I was waiting. I've been refreshing my fucking browser, and I'm not.
You're waiting.
Damn motherfucker. Who's?
Oh, we can tell. We could fucking tell.
Thanks, Teddy. I don't even see you on the goddamn live. Oracle. Why? Because we're the fucking 2 props holding this whole show up.
Start the show.
Right?
This week's episode, we're going to talk about Argentina's dirty war and death flights. Speaking of dirty wars, we got our usual rascals tonight. Old Town Road Oracle. Telephone Teddy. Fucking wouldn't put it off mute. Doing the Jardians Dance Mystic. And 2 Hot Hemorrhoids Ashtray. And this is the Red Eye Report.
The Jardians dance.
Before we get into our topic, we need to pause for the cause.
Pause for the cause.
Pause for the cause weekly benefit event.
Why can't we see Teddy on the live feed? That's weird.
I'm not watching. Oh, y'all can't see me on the live feed, really?
Oh, hold on.
Sorry, that's why you're all like, get it started. I'm sorry. Shit's looking weird.
No,
and I made that joke about me and Oracle being the only 2 propping this show up. And you just fucking laughed at me.
I did.
Anyways, this week's pause for the cause goes out to trigger warning. He is a Doberman with PTSD. And you just gotta watch out. Sometimes he likes to kiss hard.
Awesome.
At least that's what his former owner always said before he ripped her gizzard out.
She deserved it. She didn't use his pronouns.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
It went into a fucking blind rage.
Exactly. You don't ever misgender a Doberman. Or they'll take your gender. You know what I mean? So, this week we're going to talk about Argentina's dirty war. Have any of you heard the term of the Argentina's dirty war?
No.
Nope.
You may have heard what I knew about it was about the disappeared.
Nope.
Which is a term that is actually modernly more used, especially in the cartels in Mexico. Anyways, the disappeared is essentially where the government just snatches you in the dark, and nobody, your family, friends, no one knows what happened to you. There's no body, there's no nothing. Can't get in touch with you. especially in the 70s. It's like you can't even blow up fucking Snapchat. Be like, where are you, motherfucker? So this Argentina's dirty war happened between 1974 to 1983. And there's an estimated, and this is how, like, because they weren't like the Nazis where they took records, you know, they just
When
got
was
rid
the
of-
Falklands?
What's that?
When was the Falklands?
The Falklands were kind of the Falklands actually ended the dirty war.
Okay.
And like let's like round
So
out.
Britain got pissed and just came in and was
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah, and I'll kind of round out, I guess, with the Falklands. But yeah, so it was essentially, think of the Falklands War, what you know of that. This military junta, which I was like, what the hell is a junta, right? Wow, like, it just basically means any government that's run by multiple branches or like multiple military leaders, like a joint government. Anyways, the junta is what led up to the Falklands, and during the dirty war, estimated, this is how wide the range is, 9,000 to 30,000 people were killed or disappeared.
Damn.
And this is
that's a pretty big range. That's
exactly. It's a big range. Why? Because they didn't take
that's
any
like
records.
My dick's either 3 inches or like 12. I mean,
They didn't take
it's somewhere in there.
Yeah, they didn't take any records. And if you want to bring up in the outline there, Oracle, you'll see this like thing where it says the disappeared. There's this little graphic which helps people understand like
this.
So I've heard of Operation Condor, but I didn't really know anything about it.
Yep.
And the more I dug into this, which started with the death flights, and then you start realizing just how many layers there are to all this shit. Operation Condor was basically a joint. All these, you had Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Brazil. They all had dictator type governments, or at least like eventually did. And you've probably heard of Pinochet. He ran Chile, and he like basically he's the one who started it, but it was kind of this like all these South American governments agreed that we're gonna start, and it was backed by the U.S. off record.
Of course it was.
Basically, fucking
white people, man.
Henry Kissinger would go down there. It was called red light, green light diplomacy or the tactic, where he'd go down there and he'd talk with, like Pinochet, or let's say this was fucking Jorge, motherfucker who is in Argentina, Jorge Rafael Vidal. He would say like, in camera, yep, don't do this. Fucking, and then behind he's like, go ahead and do it. We don't really care, right? So all of these governments conspired to take out anyone who was leftist, Marxist, trade unionist, artists, journalists.
Gayist.
So this was sanctioned by the U.S. Like they were like, hey, get rid of these motherfuckers.
No, so like what it was is essentially that it wasn't. So it's considered U.S. backed. U.S. backed in the sense that we also did provide military aid for these governments.
Yo, mama.
We didn't. But so like the CIA was aware of Operation Condor. The CIA did not create Operation Condor, but they were aware of it. They made Kissinger aware of it. And Kissinger would go down there and on the news and in front of like, when you have those posturing moments, they say, look, we got to respect human rights and we got, like these are the rumors we're hearing, blah, blah, blah. But then when they're talking behind the scenes, he's like, yeah, like we're not really going to do anything about it. But I have to, like this is what I got to say to the international community because we're also giving you money for your military. Why? Because we can influence you. So they essentially, like it all started way back with Juan Perón, who I didn't realize he was like a beloved president of Argentina. in the 50s, but he's hated by the government. So remember, "Don't Cry for Me,
Mhm.
Argentina." Evita, I've never seen the movie, but Madonna played Evita, late 90s.
She sure
That was
did.
his wife. That was his wife, right?
It's like the middle.
Exactly. This is his second wife.
Second wife. Okay.
Evita, and so she was kind of one of the very first, like, one of the very first people to cross that boundary, because it was kind of just expected as a like celebrity. You shouldn't do politics, because she was an actress in Argentina and was like super popular. Anyways, so Juan Perón,
You should just shut her
he's
mouth.
got this great populist government. They did all these socialist projects, and like the population loved him. And Peronism was like this term, kind of like where like Eisenhower would have that kind of like New Deal, where like sort of a thing where the investing in all these infrastructure things for the populace. Everybody loved him, right? Fucking except the military. In the 1955, they ousted him with a coup, kicked him out. He went to Spain. He comes back during this period while he's ousted, and the military takes over, and all these like social programs that were helping out the poor were shut down. All these left-wing guerrilla groups started. And fast forward 1973, Perón, like enough upheaval and distrust in the government or the military comes on. So Perón comes back 18 years later. Bam, right? He's like, shows up at the airport. I shit you not, this is so fucked of a story. There's the Izizia massacre. He literally at the airport comes down and like gives this big speech, and everybody's there to support him. And he was so popular as a populist. There was right-wing Peronists and left-wing Peronists. It was like he had fans on the liberal left-wing Marxist side and fans on like the conservative right-wing side. Except for when he shows up at the airport, the right-wing side decided, you know what we're gonna set up snipers up in this building, and we're just gonna fucking shoot those leftists.
What the fuck?
Yes, exactly. It's this weird thing where like he was so beloved that he had fans on the right and the left, but the right-wingers set up snipers and murdered like 19 people at the airport, like because everyone knew he was coming. So it turned out to this big fucking political show. And yeah, he comes back, but he's like coming back with like the right-wing side of his version of populism.
Jeez, they sound worse than the fucking juggalos.
I know. So then he does, so Ezra becomes president. But of course, like like not too long after being president, he fucking dies. But his wife or his widow, Isabel. So Evita's already dead. This is his third wife. I think Evita, like, it's one of those like fucking rabbit holes where it's like, how did Evita die? I don't know. Like, I think she had appendicitis. We'll just say that.
Well, that's kind of lame.
Yeah, fell down some stairs.
As I'm like skimming the Wikipedia, it says something about she had to have a surgery, and then like I think like that might have fucked her up. Anyway, because back then.
Yeah, back then.
So, fast forward to Perón dies, and his like fucking widow takes over, Isabel something or another, Isabel Perón. Her government is overthrown in March of '76 by the military junta, which they called themselves the Natural Reprogrammization Process. Reprogrammization. And so they created the AAA, the Argentina.
The AAA.
Yep, AAA, which were basically it was Perón's like Minister of Social Welfare. The Minister of Social Welfare creates the Argentinian Anti-Communist Alliance, and they were given, even under his widow, and she signed on these decrees. They're basically given a blanket check to like stamp out any leftist, Marxist, or in dissenters. Like, so this does not harm us. And they went to town. They would have night gangs that would roam the streets, and just like hunt down anyone who was complaining, or anyone who was putting up like political posters. Any of the
Really?
shit that.
So if you were talking shit, they'd be like, "Oh, you talking some shit, huh?" They like rough you up and shit.
Well, and they would go into these families like, they would harass your family because they'd be like, "Where's so and so?"
Fucking your mom.
Yeah, there was the night. Here, my. Yeah, right. Fucking your mom. No, they created this group of the fucking mothers of something square. Of course, half my fucking notes are still at work. Where these mothers who are like, our kids like are gone. Where the fuck are they? And
They're in the ocean.
They would just be like, oh, no, what talk about. So yeah, this guy here, that's old fucking Jorge Rafael Videla. He was the one who's kind of like running this show at the time. That's the thing, is like there's actually multiple presidents, and like there's so many rabbit holes. I had to keep it back to the whole point of this was that so while the AAA was hunting down guerrillas, students, activists, political dissidents, journalists, artists, trade unionists. That was another thing too. Like basically any union organizations in the industries of Argentina, they were hunted down. And then it just went down to basically any citizen who was like putting up posters or like, protesting of any sort. The kind of stuff that like our government just like ignores, but they're like, yeah, we'll let you do it. Just don't like break stuff. And then we'll just not listen. Which is kind of how you pacify us. Anyways, they arrested and rounded up all those people, put them in these detention centers. And that's where you got this like 9,000 to 30,000 people roughly that were disappeared, presumably killed. The story, because I had heard of the disappeared, but it was actually this story recently this week was about the death flights, which they tracked down one of the last actual planes. If you bring up the fucking outline, there's this picture of this plane. They're called the short SC-7 Skyvan, and it literally looks like a Skyvan. Like at first, yeah, it was started producing. They're as old as 1963, right? So these weird like fucking short range cargo planes, and they a photographer who was fascinated with the stories is what happened is they would take these dissidents and prisoners that they were torturing. One of the things too they do is that kind of like, oh yeah, they take a spring frame underneath an old mattress, with no mattress on it, and they would strap them down to that and then hook it up to a car battery. Sometimes hook the car battery right to the testicles, like what we've been doing with the CIA. Probably all taught by the CIA. They would then take these people and they'd be like,
torture.
You know
That's
what?
Not torture.
We're releasing you after torturing you for X amount of years. Because like some of these people who are survivors who are still alive, they were in there for like 2 years. And granted, this went from 74 to 83. So they would take them then, and they would tell them, "We're going to be releasing you. We're flying you to the south of the country. Basically, like we're going to like release you, but we're going to let you out in the south of the country, and like you're free to go. But because we're flying you, we have to inoculate you." And so they would play music, and they would like get them dancing and happy, and then they would all give them shots. But the shots were propofol, like the shit that killed Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah,
damn.
Yeah,
I've had that before. It's good.
Yeah, they would get them all fucked up, passed out, and they would then put them on trolleys and get them on these fucking Skyvans. And they would then fly out over the South Atlantic Ocean, at super high heights, and they would, like, the people in the back of the plane would strip them all of their clothing, take everything off, get them fully naked, just kick them out the back
Damn.
at fucking super high altitude.
Why
why
go
do they have to
through
be
the?
naked?
Why go through the trouble?
Yeah.
To try to just completely get rid of the body, to fully disappear them. And it actually was one of these things where we may have not known about it, except for that. I can't remember what my other notes, the year, anyways. It was in the 70s, like late 70s, where 7 bodies washed ashore. And it turned out, like, people, when they identified the bodies, they turned out to be people who were reported as disappeared. And the coroner was like, yeah, these bodies hit the water at a high rate of speed. And that is where people realize that, like, and because the death flights, Argentina is not the first to invent them. This is, I guess, fucking French did it during 1947. So yeah, right. Blame it on the French. They always come up with the cool shit.
1947.
Yeah.
What war was that?
Let's see here.
Over?
It's the Malagasy uprising. They also did it in 1957 at the Battle of Algiers. But even like we did it, in Vietnam, right? There were stories where we would fly up and just fucking throw them out the helicopter.
Absolutely. Why waste bullets, right? Oh
yeah, and even one of these guys, like during, because there's in the 2000s, they started actually finding and persecuting these people responsible. One general or whatever he just kind of said, like, yeah, he's like, nowadays, like, why not just go over the volcano, make it easier?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point if you're really trying to get rid of them.
Right, but imagine, I was just thinking about that too. I was like,
then you got to be precise.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you got to be like, the logistics. Think of how many bodies would be mangled around the rim of the volcano.
Yeah.
When you try to fly directly over it, it probably fucks your helicopter up.
It's like a bathroom that hasn't been cleaned in years. There's just fucking bodies all over the fucking lid.
Yes, exactly. Fucking dirty toilet volcano full of war crimes. Anyway, so the death flights, they then they persecuted some of the pilots. What ended up happening was they tracked down somehow, like, since the junta. So like, to round out what you're asking about the Falkland Wars, the Falkland Wars was actually towards the end of the Dirty Wars. This is even after fucking Jorge. There was like another general that had to take over because you keep doing a dirty war and like the people need someone to step down, but they just kept the junta going. He decided, oh, we'll invade the Falklands. Like it's kind of almost like a George Bush thing going into Iraq, where it's like, oh man, we need a win, right? Like let's go fucking take back this British colony, because at the time too, Great Britain had been giving up territories. This is in the early 80s, Margaret Thatcher. The thing is, though, the Iron Lady, man, you don't fuck with her.
Right.
They really thought like that Great Britain, and because at the time too, Great Britain was dealing with some economic crises, and so they just thought, oh yeah, they're not going to spend the money and effort to come down here and like do anything about it. And they were fucking wrong. And that is actually, it is Great Britain coming down. And also they, the fucking general.
It was only like one battleship, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a whole, I could do a whole other episode on the goddamn Falklands, which is an interesting story. But the thing is, Argentina, because they were being subsidized by the U.S. Defense Department, they thought, oh yeah, well the U.S. will be on our side.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You had like, oh.
And it's like, you don't.
We don't know you.
Right.
Yeah, and so Yeah, it said
Prank call. We don't know
yeah.
you.
We basically just started helping subsidize Britain's effort. And also because things too, like that general, of course he had some warm, meetings with Ronald Reagan, but it's like fucking any of those politicians, like you go in there, you're rubbing elbows and schmoozing up, but it's like, dude, like you're trying to like appease the fact that you're throwing motherfuckers out of airplanes and you're trying to appease your citizens by like, you're just going to start a war and take back this little British colony.
Yeah.
You
Basically,
fucking jumped the shark, Argentina.
They handed an opportunity for, I'm sure, especially U.S. intelligence and by proxy, through British intelligence, to clean up this whole mess. To be like, oh, these assholes that have been, you remember this thing that we've been funding and kind of, not doing anything about that could be a PR nightmare.
The British to go in and take it over.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's just fucking have the British go in there, take it over, and we'll just kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, and then like we have a political now reason to stop giving you any more military funding.
Right.
And that is so it's because they fucked up so bad in the Falklands. That like it is where the junta finally like fell apart. And so this whole death flight thing was a mystery or like rumor, I guess you would call it, for, because no one really survived it other than the people who perpetrated it.
I hope. I mean, I would think not.
Yeah, it's not a.
But it was they somehow okay. So what happened was
like
after
concrete,
and also the when the junta fell apart after the fail at the Falklands, there was a democratic government that came in and they started a commission for the disappeared to try to track down, and they're still doing it to this day. Because of a change, the Coast Guard of Argentina was no longer like part of the military because the military still had a whole fucking tight lips. Like, we're not going to talk about this. But the Coast Guard were like, oh, yeah. Oh, here. Like, yeah, here's our records we have for like what planes were part of the Coast Guard back then. So they've tracked down one of the remaining surviving of these sky vans. Turned out to be in Fort Lauderdale. This poor motherfucker is like, oh yeah, they were using it for like skydiving. Can you imagine like being on a fucking plane that dumped out and killed people? You wouldn't know. Like, sure, it's just a plane, but it's like one of those things too. If you think about the story and the energy behind something, but the guy who owned it was very forthright. Like, oh yeah, he's like he had heard that it was part of the Falklands War. He's like, that's what I knew that. And it like was, but that's all I know. But hey, look still got all the original flight records. And they're like, fucking A, no shit.
Is it really? Wow.
They had the original flight records, and they showed that. That's the thing too. Is like it was reported is that those death flights happen every Wednesday for 2 years. At the very least. So 15 to 2,000 people at least estimated that they kicked out those planes at high altitude naked and drugged. Some people were already dead, depending on, torture wise. Some of them, but still, it was like, this is how we were getting rid of bodies. And it was actually a change, like an El Nino. It wasn't El Nino, but a similar kind of like weird fucking seasonal thing that brought the winds that happened where those 7 bodies washed up, that people then, the public got a hint of it. And it wasn't until they then found this Fort Lauderdale plane, got the flight records, which still had the pilots' names. And it was like in the 2000s, arrested them and put them on trial. And they had moved to like Spain and shit, they had all like get the fuck out of Dodge. So yeah, this right now it was the whole story is in the news this week because of that final plane, Fort Lauderdale. They're flying it back to like the Memorial Museum in Argentina in Buenos Aires, as part of the memorial of the dirty wars. So don't get yourself in don't be a fucking hippie leftist in Argentina in the
Those
70s.
Argentinians are still pissed about Falklands, though.
Oh yeah. Well, and the thing too is like the Falklands was it was their like last ditch effort. The thing also a lot of people don't realize is that while they decided to invade the Falklands, they actually were look at that map of that fucking Operation Condor. It's a reminder for people who are geographically inclined. While they invaded the Falklands, now look at that map. They were in a war with Chile. Look at that borderline.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of fucking border. Granted, it's a mountain range, but like they decided like to go for a win militarily. Also, I mean, kind of like we did. We were already in Afghanistan. It's like we need to go in Iraq. A real win. It was like, what the?
We'll step over here real quick.
We're in Afghanistan. Yeah, like we've already got this fucking shit show. Nonetheless, like that was how Operation Condor came to an end. They underestimated fucking whole crotchety Margaret Thatcher coming in with her warships.
Yeah, I remember when Top Gear went to Argentina on a special. They got fucking accosted. Like they had to hole up in their fucking hotel room for like 2 days. Yeah, because they're British. Well, and a lot of people think Jeremy Clarkson fucking taunted him too because he got custom license plates on the car that he bought in Argentina when he got there, and it was FLK 83.
Oh man,
Falklands 83. So he was like.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a taunt.
It is, yeah, it is. Like he said it did, that they weren't custom or anything, but that's bullshit. Because
they weren't
happened to be
custom.
Yeah, like he's not gonna admit to it. You know what I mean? He's not gonna admit. But they were like fucking throwing rocks at the caravan when they were getting them out. Like the military had to escort them to Chile.
Yeah, I would have asked for different plates because if that was a full on like coincidence.
He had those made.
That's
right.
total. I mean,
he did, but he's
producers,
not gonna say it, you know what I mean? Like,
it's good TV. It's good TV.
Yeah, right.
Until you get chased out of a country because
until you get fucking
stabbed.
Yeah, until you get stabbed.
Yeah, they had a lot. Think of all the layers of fucking crew and production around them when they're making those shows, though.
Yeah, but that's more targets, dude. They had like 3 cars full of people they had to try to get out. You know what I mean? Like like all 3 of them went in separate cars. Like they went ahead. So they were like kind of it was like a subterfuge. Like the crew was the main target. Like they were getting shit thrown at them while the stars were in these cars that were like ahead of everybody, like near the military and shit. Like like what the fuck, dude? So you just leave the camera guy to get fucking
right? Because that's the best shots. The poor bastard gets pelted with shit.
Right.
Gary, come on, Gary. Give him the GoPro. It won't break.
Gary's getting paid $18 an hour and fucking free lunch to get fucking rocks thrown at his face. Anyway, go ahead.
Gary. But cheers to Gary, like he gives us these narratives that help us understand where Argentina's at today.
Cheers,
and they're still cheers to Gary because they're still butthurt about
we'll spring for a foot long instead of a 6-inch Subway sandwich.
Yeah, man. An Argentina Subway.
All right.
I'm sure it's fucked. All right. Moving along. That was our main topic. To the what sexy section? Oracle. 2 minutes till late night.
Yeah, I just discovered this tonight. So it is a YouTube channel, 2 minutes to late night, and they had like a talk show thing or whatever. I think they were doing this like 3-4 years ago, but really kind of the great thing about it is they have over 60 recordings of covers that these musicians have done, like heavy metal covers or classic rock covers. The bands are generally from heavy metal, not all of them, or the musicians, and they come together and they fucking play these versions of these songs. and it kind of has this cool. I guess I would describe it as lo-fi editing. Just like, you know, they put like kind of ridiculous. It's not meant to look super sexy. It's supposed to be kind of funny, but it sounds amazing. All of them sound amazing. And they'll do like little interviews.
Who does the mixing then? It looks like a TikTok kind of collaboration.
Yeah, so
but
it looks like TikTok, but it does not sound like TikTok. And they clearly have a crew that's working on this, but
what's playing right now looks different than that link you had shared where they were doing Boston. That was the same thing, right?
So this is a Pantera cover.
Okay.
So this has lead singer from Hailstorm, guitar player from Code Orange.
Was this done during pandemic where everybody just
so they started doing this from the pandemic where, you know, like everybody would send in videos of themselves. But they just kept it going. They kept on doing it because they're like, holy shit, this fucking works. This actually works really well. And we can get all of these musicians collaborating on these songs in a way that we wouldn't necessarily be able to do. And basically, they have a Patreon. People pay into the Patreon, and then that gets paid out to the artists. So basically, you can sponsor artists to come in and do these like super fucking covers.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, and then the artists they pick the songs that they want to cover together. So it's like this really fucking.
So does the artist
way.
actually like start here's the Patreon, chip into this, and we get to a level like I will be able to fly out and. I haven't looked at it.
Which
makes sense.
Right. I haven't looked at it in detail, but they said, yes, this, you know, we're paying the artists through this. We've been able to do, now it's over 60 of these covers that they've done.
Yeah. If you're a busy musician, it's like, it's like got to be a certain level of price to make it worth flying out there and taking the time.
They may not even do the flying out like this one.
Oh yeah, they don't fly out.
This one they did looks like it's just fucking 4 different cameras at their houses.
Still doing
it's like a
it
Tina
remotely.
Turner cover.
Sure. Okay. Well, what was the one we watched? It looked like, or the one you shared, it looked like it was on a stage.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Those were probably.
So they do have some of them.
Okay. Well, then you misled me.
Oh, okay. Sorry, but the majority of these are still.
It was a nice
remote.
Production value, and they were all there in the same environment. No mask.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It is really good shit. So definitely check it out. I'm gonna be watching more of these. Super impressed by this, and you can tell the musicians, they're just fucking having a blast because they are like, hey, let's do this.
The Papa Roach last resort.
It's funny too because they'll do like little comedy skits and shit too.
I doubled my Patreon estimate. Fucking yeah.
And Mutoid Man is that dude. That's the guy. That's the bass player from High on Fire.
Yeah, I was watching that because Mutoid Man is kind of like the house band for the for the talk show or whatever. So he's just like screaming shit out.
The Necrogoblicon talk show?
No, I haven't seen that.
Really? All right, that's going to be my What's Sexy next week. I got to remember that.
Write it down.
It's actually fucking fantastic because the Goblin from Necrogoblicon hosts a talk show, and they're the house band. Necrogoblicon is, and they actually have like Patton Oswalt has been on there and shit. Like these fucking big. They have big name people, and it's like an actual talk show with this fucking whacked out troll fucking goblin thing asking questions.
It's so fucking crazy. Weird, but it's. I mean, it works.
Yeah.
So check it out. 2 minutes to late night.
Word. All right, moving along to old Teddy. Diablo 4.
Diablo 4 is out for everybody now.
Everybody.
The plebes.
Yeah, right. Even the Eskimos can now get it.
I got it 4 days early because of my super cheap Ultimate, but it's not. It's now.
What
out for
about
everybody.
the transgender community?
Nobody gives a fuck.
Wow. Jesus.
Sorry for all the trannies who are digging the Diablo 4.
Yeah, we're talking about Diablo right now. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
The game has had really no server problems. They did maintenance on the game while the game was up the other night. The party chat was down for a little bit, but I mean it's been really smooth. And also it's been a really smooth PC release, because for some reason PC games, like console games that come out on PC, they don't release very well. So all in all, everything's good. I like the game. It is my fuck what you think also. So get into that later. But yeah,
So
that's all I gotta say.
what are you playing it on?
I'm playing on Xbox.
Okay. What is it now? $70?
Yes.
Did you get that? Were you the one saying you got a special half price?
Well, no, for some reason I got it for $30 last week. So I was like,
that was just awesome. Good for you.
I'm
I'm moving along to Mystic, King of Speed, with a YouTube link.
Yeah, so that YouTube link is just a scene, I think, or scenes from one of the episodes. It's a 3-episode thing. It's a few years old, but I just now found it. Idris Elba goes and learns different racing disciplines, drag racing, drives a NASCAR, fucking drift, rally. You know what I'm saying? And it's fucking awesome. I'm not gay, but if Idris Elba was into me, I might try it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I'd fuck his face.
He's got that big dick energy, and it's a great fucking series because like he's so cocky, not cocky, but like confident. And there's a few times
he
where
have his natural British accent?
Shit.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's British.
I don't know if it's like Cockney. It's London. He's from East London, I guess, is what he says. Going up to the East London.
Yeah, so this is just like a fucking series where he's just looking at fucking cool vehicles.
Just learning. He's not looking at them though. He's learning how to drive them and shit.
Oh, here's how you drive a car.
From professional fucking ashtray. That's exactly what it is. Here's how you drive a car.
Driver's ed with
Idris Elba when it's at 35-degree angle.
Yeah. No, the rally one's pretty intense.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
he did a rally.
Did he really? I mean, those rally drivers are fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, he rolls this fucking Beamer, man. Pretty fucking hard. And then the drag racing one was fucking pretty badass. Anyway.
How many episodes?
It's only 3. They're like 40 minutes a piece or something. Background noise. I just watch them at work, you know.
Right. Well, you should be editing the video in front of you.
Don't tell him how to do his job. He's
the motto of CBS 58 is it doesn't have to be good. So
no, right? It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be.
It just has to be on air.
Yeah, right. Be there when on cue. All right. Moving on to Ashtray. Keep it short and sweet. Loving that long game. Went to that crazy hippie dance class again tonight, and of course the hottest hippie who I shouldn't bother getting entangled with sits down next to me, chats me up after class. So anyways, we'll see where that goes. Probably nowhere. Moving on to fuck what you think. Oh, Oracle.
That was it?
Oh, well,
damn.
Yeah, I was like, keep it short and sweet.
I
think Ashley got some ass to get to tonight or something. He's going kind of fast for him.
Trying to keep in time. Oracle. Need some rain, man. I own a house now.
Yeah. And I don't want to burn my fucking lawn off.
Got to get yourself one of those little sprinklers. And then some kids to run through it.
Yeah, get a sprinkler system, bro.
I don't need a goddamn sprinkler system.
Well, what are you going to do out there with a fucking...
I need fucking rain. That's what I need.
I need rain. Yeah. Well, when you don't have rain, you have to get the sprinkler out.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for that kind of extreme.
Dude, you bought a house. That is part of it. Like all these little nuances come down to you.
Get a few of those sprinklers and daisy chain some hoses in between.
Yep, exactly.
Get your 4 sprinklers going down that long ass fucking.
Every half hour, you go out and you move them.
Yeah.
Hey,
Gotta
if
do.
if God brought my grass into existence, God can take it out of existence. But it would be
All right.
nice if we got some rain.
Yeah.
Tell me
Well,
I'm up.
do you have any sort of a backyard garden or anything like that you're trying to?
Where it's not planted.
Yeah, just like a structure for it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's another one of the things. It's one thing to just like not give a fuck about your lawn. But yeah, once you start putting time into a little backyard garden, it's like, fuck. It's hot, no rain. You gotta take care of that shit.
I actually, because we're on city water, but the previous owner, he actually dug a well.
You're lucky.
Yeah. But I haven't,
So now,
like, there's this
that just run off your
elaborate
electricity then.
piping system to like all these hoses and shit, and he had like sprinklers on timers for the garden. But I haven't bothered to figure that shit out.
Oh, you
yet.
better fucking look into that shit. Well, then don't be bitching about
have
rain. It
this
sounds like
Hey,
you got
I
the
need
whole
fucking
infrastructure
rain,
for
dude.
free.
To water your shit.
And he's like, nope, I don't want to do it.
Some rain,
need
but the
some
previous
goddamn
owner
rain.
set up this entire irrigation system hooked to
Jesus
a well. I don't even have
Dude,
to worry about
This shit
fluoride in my
is so
plant.
elaborate. I feel like I'm solving a mist puzzle when I'm looking
better
at
get on
this
it.
shit.
You better get on it. 'Cause that sounds interesting. You could even
Hey.
give it. You could do what sexy
Yeah.
fuck it you think for 3 weeks on that.
Yeah, probably.
Just go snort some Adderall or something.
That's actually a
Figure
great
it out one night.
man. You just like save the gold mine for the very end of your fuck it you think. It's like
Yeah, you bury the lead on that.
this guy's like, I dug. Oh yeah, the previous owner dug a well, and then he put all these pipes, and it was elaborate connected. I'm like, what?
I'm just too lazy to
This
figure it
intricate-
out. I
this
just wanted to
intricate
fucking
system
rain.
of watering my garden.
Yes, dude, man, that's
Just
awesome. You're so
rained.
lucky.
Well, maybe you should
And
just bring a bunch of
you're-
Figure
shrooms
that
and
shit
they'll
out.
figure it out.
Because if you don't figure it out, it's gonna start going to waste. Honestly, like it doesn't take long for this shit to start wearing out.
Yeah.
From someone who grew up in the country and had to deal with that kind of stuff,
I don't
you
know.
gotta
I
take-
gotta figure. I don't know how to
This
get the
was a
pump
this is
to
why you bought a
start.
house. You bought a house to deal with this shit.
Jesus Christ!
I'm working
shut
on the
fuck up,
fucking
Astrid.
floors. You fucking mongoloid. God. There's so
Not
many
everybody
hours
gives a
of the
shit about
day.
their yard. I mean, not everybody's like bonkers about their yard, Ashtray.
I just want it to rain.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
I just don't want him to lose his
He just wants
infrastructure.
it to rain, dude. Moving on. Goddamn.
All right, Mystic kids.
My 16-year-old just drove for the first time today. Like had her first lesson. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm feeling
And
old.
she's
guys.
your middle.
Feeling old. Yeah,
She
it's
your
my
middle child?
It's my middle kid.
Yeah.
This is the second time. It's even worse the second time.
Really?
Yeah, the third time is gonna be.
Right.
What do you think makes it worse? Is she a worse driver, or is it more just the
Oh, I don't know if she's
sentimentality
a
of that?
worse
Like,
driver.
fuck,
It's just the
like they're getting
sentimentality.
old, and I'm
Old.
sending my little birds out to the world
Yes,
out of
exactly.
the nest.
Yeah.
Damn.
You just don't get it, man.
I never will.
He's too into his grass.
I'm just a
I know you
fucking
won't.
rascal.
I know you won't. And
Astray's gonna be
fucking-
fucking faces when he's 80.
I envy the shit out of that.
I'll be in the nursing home living on the government. fucking old, fucking toothless faces.
Old ladies and shit. Oh, absolutely.
Listen here,
Please.
Hazel.
You could always adopt Ashtray.
That's what everybody tells me. Like, seriously, do you guys think it'd be a good idea for me to
Do
adopt
you
a child?
think an adoption
Dude,
agency
I
is
would
gonna
turn
fucking?
you in. Yeah.
Yes, so terrible.
Yeah.
So tell
a
us how you're gonna
horrible
feed this
idea.
child. Oh, Baldwin Street Grill has some really great
Yeah.
fucking bar
Right?
food.
And I get the employee 50% off discount, so we're going to eat at Foster Grill every day.
Oh my
No.
god, dude.
I mean,
You
only
can adopt
realistic.
like a 15-year-old.
The only realistic way of me having kids would be like me finding a single mother who actually would put up with me, and I like enough to put up with her and her child. Anyways,
But that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I
You're
don't see that.
Yeah.
happening.
Fucking, you're fucking basic.
Yeah.
so exactly. Moving on, and on that note, to Ashtray, whose face do I need to fuck to get some shrink bands around here?
Mine.
My fucking supplier for the shrink bands I use for the My Lights. Of course, this is one of those things where it's like a lesson learned and being a little fucking industrialist on a small scale. And so I look back on the records too, because it was like end of 2017 bought this. I decided to invest in instead of getting 1,400 per bag of shrink bands, like get the big 10,000 plus crate. I mean, it's not a crate. It's like a fucking big box because they're compacted, but it was still, like investing $200+ instead of, the reasonable rate for 1,400 per bag. And when you do the math, it's like, okay, you're saving a penny. It goes from 3 cents per shrink band to 2 cents. It's like, if I'm going to be doing this long term, it's the way to go. But of course, that lasted me, till now. So like 5-6 years, it's like get down to like, I got a little over 1,000 left. It was like, better get myself a new crate of fucking shrink bands. Out of stock. Restock to be determined. That's not fuck.
Oh, really?
Start looking at alternative sizes. It's like, nope, out of stock. It's like, fuck. The thing is, you guys have seen the lighters, but so they're kind of different than your standard. There's a lot of shrink bands made for bottle tops or for hot sauces, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You only need to be usually like 1 to 2 inch distance. I need me a long 3+ inch shrink band. It's just the girth of my product. And so it's usually what I use is actually made for like those little mint tins or lip balm. But of course, because my size is out of stock, all the sizes that are somewhat similar, fucking just all out of stock. And started looking online, and all the people, like all these other companies, that offer shrink bands, any of them that have the same size as the ones I've been buying, they're buying them from my supplier.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I was like, fucking A. I finally settled on, I got, I don't know, maybe 650 or 700 of ones that are a little bit longer. Like they're a little bigger, but they'll still work. But that's now kind of like, fucking A, really? Goddamn supply chain problem still. But I guess that's a little industrial lesson learned, that like, don't let your supply get that low. Out of 10,000, maybe at like 2,500, I should have been like, maybe it's time to restock, or at least figure, or at least come to the realization that what I was getting isn't going to work. So now I'm in that fucking pickle. So
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah, right. God damn it, Obama. He wasn't even president when I bought those.
Yeah,
2017.
he should have still sent you a text message or something.
Yeah,
like
right.
A reminder.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
It's common fucking courtesy, goddammit.
give me an Obama phone.
Exactly. And that's a black guy saying it.
Yeah. And I should have had an Obama phone that was purely tied in to my shrink band supply chain issues.
Yep.
But nonetheless, Trump was right. He didn't do anything for this country. So, moving on to Teddy, blank. What's your fuck what you think, buddy?
My fucking thing is Diablo 4.
Oh.
I beat the game last night.
You beat the game?
Damn, already? When did it come out?
Jesus
Yesterday?
Christ.
I had it 4 days early, remember? I've been playing it for a week.
Well, fucking A.
A week? Jesus. I thought you were a manager now.
I am.
Your poor wife and child don't get to see you.
Oh, shut the fuck up. I play at night.
Somebody sacrificed.
But now did you beat the game? It gives you the option. I beat the game at level 46. To get to tier T, be level 50, and then you can go up to level 100 and everything else. But so I started a new character because I want to do a rogue now. My first character is a Necro, and it gives you the option to skip the story mode and go straight to the end game. And I was like, awesome, cool, it's cool. Skip the story. So
Your
guess what
first
level?
Character's a Negro?
Necro. You can call him a Negro though.
Negro Necro.
He's a Negro.
Negroes
Necro.
can be
He's a
Necros.
Negro. Yeah, Negroes can't be Necros.
Like,
Okay?
Necros can be any race.
No,
Mister.
that's
Don't
cool.
tell
I
me.
just wanted to make sure I got the right fucking word. All right.
He's a Negro Necro.
So if you choose the option to skip the story mode, it doesn't give you the XP for all those quests they just give. It starts you off at level 6 in the end game, like level 50 shit.
Motherfucker.
And I know it's a stupid thing to be upset about. I didn't have anything from a what's sexy. I fucking from what would you think? I think it's so quick. This is like it's quick. White people problems.
Most of them are.
Problems.
We create and suffer from our own problems.
We can suffer from our own problems.
Right?
Yeah, we create and then don't fix our own problems.
Yep. Bestow them upon all the minorities below us, and then blame them for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way. This is the way.
All right. Well, so that's the last of the fuck you thinks, I believe. Oh, look at this, on time, 11.
Boom.
In all
Incredible
seriousness,
flow to the show there, Astrid.
go fuck yourself, Canadian wildfires.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and make it
Man up, bitch.
That's our show. We're gonna be here every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Central. Make sure you join the conversation at the old RER.com/ or whatever, Facebook.com/.
Wait a
Way to really sell the show there, buddy.
Oh, you know what? This is Ashtray's show. I do the front end, the deep research about fucking people being dropped out of planes, something real nefarious to give you nightmares before you go to bed. And then I'll fuck it up at the end because I am the Ashtray.
I'm Oracle.
Mystic.
And I'm Teddy.
And that was the mildest Red Eye Report.
Boom.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.